Welcome to day 15 of SuFamiMas, the Super Famicom Christmas. And welcome to another beat 'em up game on the Super Famicom. This is Sailor Moon R, based on what would technically could be considered the second season of Sailor Moon. And I was curious to what Sailor Moon was all about a few years ago, and started watching a few episodes. And it's pretty good. With anime in the 90s, you had the assumption that there were two kids anime show. One was Dragon Ball for the boys and Sailor Moon for the girls. And Sailor Moon is definitely for the girls, but I think, as one of my friends' Japanese teacher once said, who she was a Sailor Moon fan, but she said that Sailor Moon is a show for young girls and old men. And maybe that's why it's good, now that I'm an old man. But I want to say with this one, it's more the story and the aesthetics that kind of drive it home. And let's pick which one. I'm not that far into the anime, so I don't know a lot of the characters. I know Sailor Moon, of course. This one, the smart one, the first one she meets. This one, the serious one, Shrine Maiden. And I think I might have seen some episode with this one. I'm not sure who this one is, but I like this one. She got that tomboy style. And despite how they look, I've never actually found much sexual appeal in these girls. But you know, knowing that it was a show for girls, I think I've always never really checked out these games. I assume they were all like adventure or puzzle games. So it's kind of a whiplash to see that they're actually kind of beat 'em up games. Because if you watch the show, the girls of course fight characters from the Shadow Realm who are looking for the silver gem. At least in episode 1 they are. So they can dominate all humans. But you never see them. What usually happens in the show is that they will appear. The enemies will appear and they'll talk back and forth, and then they'll shoot off their signature special attack, which we will also obviously do in this game later. And when they do that, it's from a nice, POV shot of the heroine who does it, so they can easily reuse that animation sequence over and over again in the episodes. But you never actually see them punch or kick anyone. They never deck anyone just across the face. So despite the fighting, there isn't much fighting, and this isn't the only beat 'em up game there is. There's like 3 or something like that. There's at least one other on Super Nintendo here, and there's one on the Mega Drive, which I think is this game, just the Mega Drive version. And then there's a beautiful looking arcade game from Ben Presto, which Ben Presto famously has a lot of beautiful games that are usually pretty lagging in complexity. They're simple games, but they all often have very beautiful animations. The Sailor Moon beat 'em up is alright. Now, what we've seen so far is that I've just been using my basic attacks, but I also have like a charge attack, which doesn't cost anything, but obviously I have to charge it up. And when I say cost anything, I mean I don't lose any health by using it. But I also have a super attack. And since we are over halfway to Christmas, it kind of brings me joy to see that second part of stage 1 here is Christmas themed, which I had kind of forgotten. Now we picked Sailor, what is it, Neptune? Sailor Saturn here? I forget her name. We'll see when the round is over. And but they all have pretty much similar range on their attacks. They aren't much different, not in this game. There are slight differences in the arcade game with the range of their attack, but I feel like this girl's attacks are a little bit stronger. But she is also physically stronger in the anime than the other girls, than the other 14-year-old girls. It's very interesting. Sailor Moon, the main character, is like a completely oblivious 14-year-old girl who is actually never asked to. She's just kind of chosen to be Sailor Moon, a warrior justice. But it's more chance than anything. Let's use a super attack here. Check it out. I have 2 of those. You can see the little bow icon next to my lives. Could use the charge bar a bit more here, but some enemies are pretty sneaky and have a tendency to sneak out of it. But yeah, Sailor Moon is fun, and there's something about when I rewatched a couple of episodes prior to in preparation for this, and we have the boss. See if we can hit her with a range attack. She will charge in and do a kick sometime and move around erratically, making her hard to hit. But we can see if we can get in and get her, but she has great range. And she has we have another super attack, but I think we will save it for when she calls in her minions here and when she comes out again. But the anime has some super pleasant backgrounds. I mean, it is. I think it was probably a weekly show back in the 90s, but you know, just looking at the backgrounds, they're all like beautifully watercolored. Here we have Tuxedo Mask appearing, and he's like a guy that shows up in the end of the episode, usually when the girls can't really defeat a bad guy, or if they're in trouble. He'll appear and just defeat the bad guy and then run off. And Sailor Moon is of course hopelessly in love with him, and all the girls kind of seem to be attracted to him and fighting a little bit over him. Except not all that much, because I mean, not all of them are super interested in having boyfriends yet. Here we have stage 2, and we recharged our supers, but we get a third one right from the get-go here, which we will need because here they really start ramping it up with the enemies. But yeah, looking at beautiful anime from the 90s and knowing that all of it is hand painted. I mean, it's not like computer generated background, it's all completely hand painted. It really makes you feel like, wow. I mean, I'm not trying to be like the old nostalgia dude here saying that old things were better. But man, animation, I feel like animation kind of as a skill or as a craft rather, really peaked. I mean, weekly shows like Sailor Moon is one thing, but look at masterworks like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and many of the other greats, Ninja Scroll. Insane work, insane craft. And that was, I think that was part of the draw for me back in the 90s. Getting into anime was looking at how much the quality was just leaps and bounds over what I've seen from Western animation. Not that Disney didn't do incredible stuff back then as well, but you know, I feel there were more. That was just Disney. I mean, the anime industry was just huge, tons of different studios. All the Miyazaki films, of course. But there is something about the hand coloration of the watercolor in Sailor Moon that really strikes me, and has especially some of the scenes that uses kind of like cityscapes aesthetics. They have a real influence on modern, well, which isn't super modern anymore, but the music genre, future funk, and to some extent vaporwave as well. It's fun to watch all the little things they do in the Sailor Moon show. Did you know that there is a scene where one of the girls, the smart one, the bookworm, she has a computer that she's gotten, and she's looking at it while they're captured in this mystery time zone, and because it's supposed to look like it has a fancy English computer, there's some English, well, not gibberish on the screen. It's all, for some reason, it's all RoboCop's prime directive. So someone at the Sailor Moon studio was a fan. And I'm a fan of RoboCop as well. RoboCop and Terminator, hands down, the two big ones for me for the 80s. Go back and forth which one I prefer, RoboCop, Terminator 1. But the homage to RoboCop definitely... Oh, I don't want to get knocked into the water here. Definitely helped make me a fan and wanted to check out more Sailor Moon. Well, it's a basic action show, you know. Something happens, you know, small stories, you know, about friendship or mysteries, and then there's like a monster of the week that they easily defeat in the last few minutes. Once they figure out who it is and who's doing what. And Sailor Moon is, of course, massive. It's one of those shows that Well, there are many other large, huge anime shows these days, of course, that you think of when you think of Japan. Let's use a continue here. Not so popular anymore. There are shows that were huge, you know, shows like Naruto, like the other one, which I can't remember the name of, with a guy who's like fighting ghosts and wears a has a big sword. That's all of them, isn't it? And you know, you have One Punch Man, you have My Hero Academia, One Piece, of course, is massive. But I think Sailor Moon is timeless. Naruto is a show you don't see that much. I don't think you see that much representation anymore if you go to Japan and kind of like scan across. But I guarantee you that you'll find some Sailor Moon somewhere. But as a game, this one here, as a beat 'em up game, I will say the kind of short range on not just this character, but all of them, kind of means, as you've probably seen by now, that you get into a lot of places where you end up using, where you end up just grabbing enemies instead. I'm not using Some Brother Dragon a lot here. As much as I could. We got another boss here coming up, which is pretty fast and brutal. The first guy we've seen in the game so far. Well, there were all those fat guys early on this stage, I guess. I'd almost forgotten about those. And then Tuxedo Mask, of course. And Usagi's father and brother from the intro. This guy will jump in and use that attack there, which has range and is pretty annoying. And I would like to catch him in the combo here, but he's just gonna jump back and forth. Something I haven't used yet is actually the crash attack, you know, the kind of attack that takes a bit of my health. Looks like that one. Get a nice little panty flash, as you can see. As I said, a show for old men. Let's use one of my supers here. He's just going to jump back and forth and take out my health. And I get more next stage, I assume. So let's just use them all and beat him. There we go. The president of Tuxedo Mask is interesting because he just comes in, you know, throws a rose and then disappears again. Barely does anything, but it always like shows up in the last, you know, 30 seconds of the episode. Say, hey, I'm here to help, and then he does something and then vanishes again. Barely does anything, and then vanishes again. On to stage 3. The little girl you saw playing basketball with the cat here, she's what's her name again? She's like a Chibi Usa. The main girl is named Usagi, and her name is Chibi Usa. And I don't really know anything about her. I assume she's kind of like the Scrappy-Doo to Scooby-Doo that they introduced for season 2. like an all-purpose, more like a comedy relief character. But you can also play as her in a separate mode, which you can kind of call easy mode maybe. And I'll show off some gameplay of her and next time we lose or continue. Or next time we lose, we're not gonna continue. We're just gonna go back. It'll be the start of the game again, but just to show her what she plays like to finish off here. It's a beat 'em up with nice big sprites, but I will say that the music almost puts you to sleep. Unfortunately, you can't get out of those grabs either with the use of that's usually in other games like Final Fight. It's a great way to get out of crash attacks. Is a great way to get out of getting grabbed. Anyway, we lost our last life here, and I actually clicked continue. Let's just reset. And get back to the game here. Skip that scene. And over here, I think, if I remember correctly, is the chibi Usa. I don't know why the cat is a round orb here. It is just a magical cat, in a normal-looking cat in the original game. But Chibi Usa is, I don't know if she's kind of like more overpowered than other characters are, but she certainly is in this game by the fact that she's smaller, hilariously smaller, which means that enemies can't hit you all the time. They have some attacks that can hit you, so it's not a game that's impossible to die. But on the other hand, she doesn't have any grabs, but that is nice to some effect because that means that you can finally start using your combos more than having to rely on constantly getting into grabs. And that's probably one of the biggest issue with this game. That is that the range is on the melee attacks that you end up getting into too many grabs. Now the Green Ranger, as I'd like to call her, the Green Sailor Moon Neptune, or whatever her name is, I think it's Neptune. In the arcade version of this, not of this game, but of another Sailor Moon beat-em-up game, she definitely is. She's a character that's a little bit more range than others, and is fun to play for that reason. But you can see it's easy, just breeze through when enemies can't hit you, or if they just stop and stare like these ones do. Let's see what her shooting attacks look like. She shoots parasol stars, obviously. And before anything else, we're of course gonna go out with her special attack. Very effective, obviously. Yeah, but jumping, as you see, enemies can hit you if you jump into their attacks. But most of them won't. So yeah, this is the easy mode for Sailor Moon R. A pretty okay beat 'em up, all things considered, on the Super Famicom. There are certainly worse out there. Anyway, I want to say thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.